Alright, so, in today's video, we are watching a Gold 2 DPS. You're gonna see some Soldier, some Bastion, some Hanzo. Alright, and the way they describe this one is they say that they have deranked all the way down from Plat. Sully, what are you doing? They deranked all the way down from Plat, and no matter what they do, they can't get a win. It's whatever they're doing, whether it's 100 limbs, I mean, obviously I have no idea if they're getting 100 limbs, but no matter what, whatever they're doing, it's not working. So what's going on? Why aren't they winning games? Also, they say their Mercy wasn't playing well. This will be an interesting one. We'll see how it goes. Subscribe to the YouTube if you haven't. Like the video. It's video time. Okay, let's see. What's the problem here? Let's find out.
Payloads on the move. Intercepted.
You know, it's not really the best start when the other team doesn't even know you're there. You know what I mean? You know it's gonna be a good one when you start off on the side angle and no one knows you're there for like the first 15 seconds because you haven't done anything. We've all been there, right? It's like, oh wow, I don't know why they aren't looking at me. It can't be the missed shots and the. Did Lifeweaver? I am playing Lifeweaver today for bingo. It's a Lifeweaver gameplay bingo. This is, we're recording a video. A spectated. Okay. I already want to kind of like stop this for a second because it doesn't feel like sometimes when we get, it always feels like sometimes we'll get like a few spectatins where we'll start off with like the idea that like you're just not, I want you to see what you're doing for the first like minute of this game, and like this already is like telling if you keep doing this because you're spending the majority of the game not doing anything, and that's gonna happen sometimes. But like you're kind of like you heard a tracer and then you spent 15 seconds looking at a wall to your left, right? Things like that. I'm trying to think of a way to explain this. You could spend 8 of those seconds shooting at the Junker Queen on their team, and now the Junker Queen can't create space, right? If you're just sitting there doing nothing a lot of the time, you'll start to see that the other team will get more value just because you're not, like, putting any pressure on the other team. You stare to the wall. The Tracers, like, to give you an idea, the Tracers' blinks were more effective than what you were doing on Hanzo at that point. You get what I'm saying? Just the blinks alone. You know what I mean? This is Gold 2. Also, just a little bit of a side note, and I'll do this a little bit sometimes when I'm playing Hanzo. While getting the Pharah Mercy out of the sky is like a really cool play and a very satisfying play, there's a certain point where you need to just recognize, like, listen, they have 3 on the point that I can shoot at, and the more pressure I put on them, the less likely that the Pharah will have a pocket, which means more likely the Pharah will have to fly down, which then will increase your chances of getting the Pharah. Also, I want to point out, like, for example, how long it took you to react to the Pharah there. Like, things like that will help improve a lot. You know, as much as I would love to say you need to improve on your Storm Arrows, I miss all my Storm Arrows, too. I don't know what it is. Whenever I have a Storm Arrow, I can have a Roadhog in front of me, and I'll draw, like, a silhouette around him. Don't know how I do it, but I do. Some people are just good at Storm Arrows, and some people aren't. And I'll be aiming right at them.
I am in your debt.
Target priority. You hear me talk about it all the time. Look at this. I want you to watch. Look at this. Just look at. Wait, what is? Even if you get the limb here, which I need you to like just see what you just did the past. Okay. And it goes back to this. You says no matter what you do, this is where I just want to kind of get you in the focus of sometimes just sitting there and spamming at a tank. Sometimes just kind of chilling and just not over pushing it and like overdoing it, as in trying to flank and go for a Pharah Mercy and make these plays. You're getting distracted so heavily by anything the other team does that if I was playing tank, I would be so happy, and I would actually be very happy you're playing this way. Because if I don't have to worry about a Hanzo who's spending the majority of their time not doing anything, then as a tank, it's fine. But if you're spamming down that tank to 40% HP every time, everybody loses value on their team because now they lose that space. So you just need to start being a bit more focused on what's in front of you. Don't get me wrong, look at the Pharah Mercy, but like, wait till they make a play on that one. Okay, on to Bastion now. So what about ice cream? On TikTok, you get ice cream. Someone sent me 130 ice creams.
Tactical visor activated.
All right, Bastion's gonna be good here. It's gonna be somewhat late of a swap for you. Oh wow, you're off to a great start. It doesn't get much better than this. Off to a wonderful start. Your team is gonna eventually lose that anyway. This is going well. Yeah, this is an interesting one. Coward form. Right into that. Go right into the... It's fine if you get slept. And now, okay, well, you know what? That was just a good play by their team. I'm gonna be honest with you. I have a feeling you're gonna have some great moments in this game, but the first, like, 5 minutes of this game has been a treat. Like, the first 5 minutes of this is like... But keep in mind, this is a 30-minute game. We'll see some Soldier 76. I like this swap here, but I want to see what your playstyle is. Okay, so there's something about your playstyle that I think... Oh, you almost went off there. I want to see... Yeah, you do this all the time. Okay. I want to see it again. Yep, okay. I'm gonna pause for a second. First of all, nice helix. But there's something that you need to start doing, and that's working on your movement. As Soldier 76, one thing that you really have is the ability to move around. You're literally stopping whenever you want to scan an area or you go to, like, aim at somebody, you just stand still. And as Soldier 76... that will not go well consistently. You might have games where you pop off because the other team isn't taking advantage of that, but you said that you've kind of been on, like, this D rank from Plat, and things like that, especially your movement, will help you a ton. Yeah, just standing still. And don't get me wrong, each rank will play differently, so if, like, you're sitting there going, wait, what the heck, I'm doing that? It can take time, right? If you're still working on your aim, if you're still working on understanding the game, etc., it's going to be progress, right? You're gonna improve on those little things over time. This is just something I'm noticing where, like, you have this tendency to just stop in place, become a statue, and it's going to be really easy for the other team to get you. You got to be careful of that. Like, watch what happens when you go to shoot somebody. Actually, you moved a little bit there. See, I like that. Wasn't perfect. Oh, wait a second. I say that, and then what is this? Here we go. Oh, there it is. Do more of what you did before that, and I'll be happy. Nice job. Nice job. Positioning, by the way. I feel like every player... Oh, yeah, I mean, I'll do that, too. It's more like... Keep in mind, whenever I talk about... First of all, what is going on here? I also want to point out what happens when you actually go for playmaking ability. Have you noticed the difference in when you're just standing there doing nothing and when you're actually going in and making plays? Much better. Now, your positioning was not good there towards the end, and you probably shouldn't have ulted that, but you know what? That's one of those, like, what do they call them? Heat checks? Is it called heat checks? Where, you know, you watch the player go for the 45-foot three just because they've hit 8 shots in a row. You know what I mean? Sometimes you gotta do that, right? So yeah, Soldier 76 went for a bit of the heat check there. It didn't go as well. Okay, let's see what happens now. Now, this is where you're going to struggle a little bit on second point if they decide to hold close.
Keep on keeping on emongg.
A bag of donuts, thanks to 18 months to the Futures Prime. Thank you. That's a wall.
Ends now.
That was very nice of the Orisa. Okay, so this is also why I think you would want to work on your movement. Are you watching? Are you watching like how you're going across? But you know what? I think it's the better way to show it. Where's the Sojourn at? I'm just gonna go to their Sojourn for a second because I think it's a better example to show. Watch your movement here in a second. Do you see that, by the way? That's why I say, like, one thing that you could definitely improve on is your movement. Because when you're doing that, what's going to be an easier shot? You walking in, you going in a straight line like that across, which you did even when you popped off, or kind of moving around a little bit and going from there. Right? Do you get what I'm saying? You see that? So you want to work on that a little bit. Now, how do you work on that? You can go in the training range and just run around the map. Takes time, but movement can be a huge part as you climb. It's not like a necessity, especially in gold. But I talk about how getting you to start on like these like good habits in ranked early on in ranked will help you a ton, right? Like applying good movement to gold will help you when you get to masters, etc. Right? If you as you climb. So I'm just kind of showcasing you what it's like when you have that bad movement, and I think you'll improve a ton. Feel like you can't commit to one target. That's also a thing. A lot of it's like prioritizing a target, you know? By the way, if you're see that Orisa's doing, by the way, not ideal. Their Orisa's gonna fall over if they keep doing that. You'll see. They have to commit so much to keep that Orisa alive. If you're playing Orisa or a tank and you're like spamming your cooldowns running at them, like that, you want to play more around corners rather than the middle of the open. Good job going high ground, by the way. I like this play by you. You can ult this in a second if you want to. You don't have to, though, because of the Bob. Actually, I wouldn't ult at all. I also want to show you, even though you got killed by the Ana there, great res by your Mercy. Do you see what good positioning does for you? Even going high ground there helps you a ton. It's like free limps, right? Nice job. Any of my VODs will be submitted to my Discord. Yep. And there's a whole process there. Also, I can tell you're a lot more comfortable on hit scan than you are in projectile, because when you were on Hanzo, you kind of struggled a bit with, like, understanding the projectile. Just to give people an idea, and I still will make a short of this one day, because I have, like, I basically can do YouTube shorts, things like that. I mean, a short on this stuff. Just to give you an idea, or a TikTok, your projectile is where you have to kind of lead your shot, like, when you have hit scan, wherever your aim is at, wherever your bullets, like, your bullets are going wherever you're aiming at. On projectile, and a hero like Hanzo is projectile, you have to lead your shot and predict where they're going to go. Now, obviously, if they're standing still, your shot's going to hit, right? But you have to lead your shot and predict where they're going to go, and that's a projectile because it doesn't have the same, like, speed as, like a hit scan shot does. So you have to lead your shot. So I can already tell that hit scan you're comfortable with, but when you're in Hanzo, you were not really using projectile aim, you're kind of hit scanning. So I can see that's probably something else you have to also look at. Whenever I would do my warm-up, like, you know, quick play games at the beginning of the stream, that's what I worked on a lot with Hanzo, and at times you'll hear me go, okay, I need to aim like I'm playing projectile, and that's what I mean, because sometimes I'm used to hit scan way more. Good alt usage here, by the way. Very well played in this one. I think you'll improve a little bit from that. Yeah, some people are really good at projectile. Some people are really good at hit scan. Some people are good at both. Projectile, in my opinion, takes a little bit of time, but that's because I'm so used to hit scan. I think it's like one of those things where if you've played games that were projectile, you have a much better understanding of how it works. If you've only played games with hit scan, also that was just a good play by their team now. That you were in a good spot by their team. If you played a game with just hit scan, it takes a little bit to get used to projectile. At least that's how it feels, for me. Did a lot of games you played before were projectile? Yes, I played a lot of hit scan. Remember, this is where I talk about your movement, like how you run in like a straight line there. I don't mind this flank for a second. If you get a good helix, nice job. I also want to, once again, kind of point out to you how you've been a bit more proactive on your gameplay now that you've been on Soldier 76. I want to compare your gameplay right now to your Hanzo at the beginning, where on Hanzo you said, or on Hanzo you pretty much sat there and did nothing the majority of the game because you weren't trying to do anything, and you would get distracted by like a tracer blink. Do you see the difference now when you're being more a part of like your team and a part of the game in comparison to doing nothing? That's a huge change. And you had mentioned, oh, no matter what you do, you can't find wins. Think about this. Think about how much time the other team has and what you did on the attack. There is a lot more that you can do to improve and win in these games to help your team. They could have no time on the clock right now. That could be an easy dub. They could have only a minute 15 right now if you were sitting there like spamming the chokes as Hanzo and not sitting there just staring at walls and hiding, right? You get what I'm saying? Skeletor, thanks for the 3 months of tier 1. Thank you, appreciate it. Thank you. Range is gold too.
Glad to be here another month with emongg.
Like I said, Virgo, I'll pay attention to that a little bit, but I don't think so. I think that's more of like, I'll show you what I mean. There you go. You see what I'm saying? Good start, by the way. Very good start. Because once again, you're involved in your team fights. You're there. You're making plays. You're doing things that are good for your team. This is kind of all of what I'm referencing before. All right? It's okay to stand still here if you really want to for a second, but be careful now because your Mercy's not with you. So now this is where you'll take more damage. Yeah, by the way, that wasn't your Sombra on your team. That Sombra that walked right by you, that wasn't your team. Alright, is it me, or is, like... I think if you played Soldier 76 a bit more, you would already go back into climbing a bit more. Not, like, climbing a bit more, but not losing as many games. I still think your movement is something you, like, really need to work on. Also, do me a favor next time here, because I saw... Also, you said your Mercy. Your Mercy, I'm not saying it would have saved your Mercy, but like get in the habit of trying to save your teammates with your healing station. You were in a decent spot to be able to help there a little bit. And I'm not saying that would have made a difference, but at least give your Mercy a chance there, all right? I think your Mercy can survive that. Now, granted, you might need it now, and it might look a little bit better, especially with the Cassidy who's about to flank these stairs. This Cassidy has a plan. Will it work? Let's find out. You hear him. Nope, didn't work. Oh, you didn't even use your healing station. Good help. And also, I do like your usage of high ground. Nice job. Good play. Do I review all gameplay? People submit stuff on my Discord. I have about, probably 20 to, I'm just going with a large range here, probably 20 to 50 submissions a day. So I don't get to every video, I'll be honest with you, but I try my best to get to what I can, what would be entertaining, what people would enjoy, so it takes a little bit, but. I also want to think about your position here for a second. Good Helix Rocket. Or is this goal too? Wow. Your team's rolling right now. I want to see how you play in defense again. Yeah, your Soldier gameplay has been a lot better than your Hanzo, and certainly better than what we saw in Bastion. I mean, your Soldier 76 gameplay, that is, has been... Now, be careful here. You're in overtime. By the way, I want to point out, see that movement you did where you just went a straight line walking across? They almost got you right there. Your teammates had basically double support heals on you. You still almost fell over right there. Like, try to minimize a little bit of that, like, just crossing over in, like, a straight line. It's a lot easier for them to hit the target at that point if you do that. I can tell you that's another thing you can really improve on. Nice. I mean, your team's just rolling right now. Your team is just rolling right now. This is on PC. Okay, now we're doing the same strat as last time, but on the bridge here. Here we go. Let's find out. They knew you were there that time. once again, be careful with the standing still. Like, in one spot. I know you're going for a play on that one. Just, like, you can stand still. You're going to find that sometimes you're just going to fall over because of that. What rank is this? This is gold 2 that I'm watching. Nice Helix. Okay, I gotta pause for a second, because this is a complete side note. Like, where is the Mercy playing bad? Maybe it's towards the end of the game or something that you were referencing, but your Mercy's been playing fine. I don't know, maybe I'm not seeing something right now. Maybe it's more towards the end of the game, but... Yep. There's still plenty of time left in there, so we'll see. Well, yeah, I mean, they're much more comfortable on Soldier. Keep in mind, they used to be in Plat, and then they deranked and lost a bunch of games. And I'm already seeing, like... I think what you have here is they have good aim on hit scan. Or, you know, pretty good aim on hit scan, right? Obviously, there's always room for improvement with that. But things like your positioning and your movement are what are real... And, like, when you play heroes that aren't Soldier 76, you spend most of the time doing nothing. I mean, granted, that's off of one game of sample size, right? But, like, you just sit there doing nothing. And on Soldier, you're more confident in your gameplay. You're running around the map. You're going for plays. You're hitting way more shots. You're being more effective. I also want to point out, this is why I referenced earlier. Remember how when you were on defense last time, you weren't aiming at the choke and you were worried about, like, a tracer blinking into your backline while staring at a wall? Don't stand still like that as much. You can still stand still like that at times, but I'm just trying to get you in the habit of, like, remembering that sometimes you have a tendency to stand there. Next thing you know, you get two-shot by a Tor. And don't worry, people will do that in top 500. They'll do it in bronze. But it's more about how much minimizing that more than anything, right? Wonderful healing station because of the deval. I be careful here. It's okay to back up if you need to or take high ground position. Nice job. Positioning. Back away. Hide behind a wall. It's okay. It's okay to stop for a second. Stop for 1 second. Okay, good job. Now wait. Okay, there you go. Much better. You can ult this, by the way, if you want to. I was gonna say. They're about to be demac'd anyway. There's no way they keep them up. That was a good ult. Good ult choice. Very good ult choice. Then okay. And this just goes back to what I was referencing earlier. I want you to kind of, like, see your positioning right there and understand why that wasn't good. You were in the middle of the open. You were standing still. You just had a free limb. There was a Torb turret in the corner. You had every opportunity to hide behind a wall here, hide behind the cart, use a healing station. And instead, you spent the whole time just sitting here trying to fight that Torb turret. Just give it a second. Be patient. Hide behind the wall. Good to go. And this is different than when I said you were doing nothing on Hanzo. Getting a healing station up to go re-peek a bunch of people in front of you stuck in a corner here is totally fine. Also, I like how your Mercy's resin you, who's in the good position while resin you. Take your win, everybody.
Heroes never die.
You should win this. The only way you're gonna lose is if you go and feed.
Good choice.
Like, there's no way you... This is it, right? Right? Uh-oh. 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 Now, let me ask you a question here, because I'm kind of curious in this one. What was your vision of pushing right here to get, like, an early limb? Because, like, I don't mind it, but then, like, I need you to kind of think about what you did after that, right? You just kind of ran around in circles. There was no, like, plan after this. Okay. All right, they made a pass there. Sprint away. Go around. Good positioning. Rotate around if you need to. You can do all these rotations, and your rotation was to spin around in circles. And then, like, what happened is you had to, like, think about 20 things at once. You start spamming all your aim, and you start missing all your shots. That's why I say that the decision-making and things like that can help a ton. Now, keep in mind, that's not going to be on your Mercy that you mentioned. That's going to be on you. That was you specifically that went with that play. All right? Don't just stand here and I don't know if watch just listen, I know it's overtime, but you can play the same way you played last time here. Just wait on your team. Be patient. Go back to the high ground. Remember the high ground you were taking earlier? Go to that high ground right now. Go to that high ground. All right, let's stay on the low ground here. All right, now you're in front of a Sojourn. Good Zenel. Good job avoiding the ultimate. I'm gonna pause for a second. So, I bet that's a situation where you're like, oh, my Mercy went in for a bad res, and we can sit there and say, okay, that wasn't the most ideal res, but let's start at the beginning of this whole team fight, okay? And this is why we run into these situations where, like, you see this play happen, and you're like, oh, my Mercy just played that. What was that? Why did my Mercy Valk in and go in there? But let's start from the beginning of that team fight. Well, we're not gonna go back in time on the, but like, you stayed here the whole time. The whole time. You could have just been up here and won the team fight. You want to know why? Only person who can get you is D.Va. D.Va's not going to be able to get you in that time with where your supports are at, especially with the Mercy keeping you alive the majority of the time. You would have had full high ground control up here. You would have absolutely dominated anybody on the low ground. They wouldn't have been able to get you at all. They would have gone in position to even get an angle on you. Instead, you stood on the low ground here, spent the majority of the time here in overtime, not doing anything. And then, yeah, your Mercy didn't make a good play, but the point I'm trying to make is, if you start off by going into a good position and making a good play from the get-go, we don't even get to the point of your Mercy Valk in this. And I'm not saying it was a good Valk or a good res attempt. What I'm saying is that think about from the beginning of this, right? Of where you started and how that whole team fight went when it could have been as simple as you're on high ground. Now you've created a spot for your Mercy, right? Your Mercy has a safer spot on the high ground now. Now maybe your Mercy doesn't have to even go into a Valk at that point. I'm not saying they don't, but my point is you see how there's like a chain effect of things that are happening? That's why what you can focus on is where you're going in these team fights and focusing on what you're doing more than what's happening there. I know. The long game, it is. Positioning. Nice shots. Now, don't go too wide here on this play, because you're going to be in a really small area that they're going to... All right, let's just check on... All right, who are we blaming for this, chat? It has to be the Mercy, right? So... This is where I mean, like, we saw really good, like, plays out of you, and then out of nowhere, overtime's hit, and, like, you're doing the exact opposite. You're going back to what we saw at the beginning of the game, right? We're going back to what I know it's the chat. I know. Just to reiterate here, I know that's on the Soldier. We're memeing that because they had mentioned that their Mercy was making mistakes at the end of the game, right? And I am not seeing it. I will agree. I do think that the Valk play here was not ideal. So we'll talk about that, but we had a whole thing on that. But what was that? What was the point? What, if you go into a small hallway, listen, Soldier outflank, sure, you can make it work. This is not where you make it work. This is not, look where you are, look where they are. That's not going to work. So that's going to be more on your team. I mean, that's going to be more on you, is what I mean.
This ends
You said, oh, you said it's a gamer thing. Whoever makes the last mistake takes blame for the whole game. That's how it works. Yeah, your teammate doesn't touch the cart, but your 4 teammates are ran in a straight line of them. You know?
Escort the payload.
Everyone, heal up.
Okay, that's a healing station. I want you to be a little bit better with your healing stations. That didn't... I don't... Okay. We talked about a little bit with the standing still. I'm gonna showcase this to you, because remember I talked about that earlier, how like when you have that type of positioning or that movement, I want you to see this from the Torb's point of view. Okay, you ready? I'm gonna pause that one more time for you, because this is gonna just showcase what's happening. You ready? That's you. You see that? Here, I'll get rid of the overlay. That's you. Now, if you're moving back and forth, this becomes a bit more difficult of a shot. If you're sprinting over to the left health pack room, this becomes easier. This is you. You're standing still in a doorway, okay? You don't have another team there, and then watch what happens. You get one shot. Obviously, you're a little bit low, but then guess what? Your Mercy Ah, so your Mercy goes for the res, and then a Sojourn runs in and gets them? I'm not going to be mad at your Mercy for that res, by the way. I would consider that a safer res than most. That was a good play by the Sojourn, because I'm willing to bet you were referencing a little bit on that one. Like that your Mercy had a bad res there. I think your Mercy was in a good spot. The Sojourn made a better play. Okay, around the corner we go. Now the Mercy's going to go in and try to res you again, I'm assuming. There's a Sigma Flake in your team? Yep. Actually, Mercy wouldn't have had res at that point, right? Because it's still on cooldown. Yeah, I was just going to say. I always think that, like, it would reset on cooldown, but I forgot it actually would be on cooldown, right? Isn't there some heroes that the cooldown resets and some don't? The bash and flank, okay. I mean, you know what? I'm not going to... Overtime gets wild a bit. Adiazon, thanks for the 9 months of feature sponsor. Thank you, appreciate it. Thank you. Careful of what we talk about with standing still. Careful of that a little bit. Keep in mind, you're also putting yourself in an off angle here to the right, so be careful of that also. Don't shoot into the Sigma. It's going to help the Sigma more than you. Okay, perfect. Let's give him some over help. Wonderful. All right. Just to kind of like put a side point here, when you shoot into a Sigma's eat, it gives Sigma overshield. That's how Sigma gets like that green HP. When you see a Sigma with green HP, it means that your teammate shot into the overshield. A common strategy on Sigma that some Sigmas will do is they'll put their shield. And some people are like, why do they do this? You'll put your shield up, you'll start using your eat. They shoot at your shield, you drop your shield, now you have overshield. Okay? And the overshield lasts for a very long time. So that's why Sigmas will do that. Point being is if you ever see a Sigma with that green HP, it's because your teammate shot into their eat. It's not like on D.Va. D.Va just eats the damage and that's it. When Sigma uses their eat, they benefit from that and get an overshield that helps their HP. You know what I'm saying? Over health, over shield. I say over shield, over health. It's both kind of the same. Kind of. Technically, the shield would be Zenyatta. I just call it over shield. It's over health, technically. Yeah, over health. Yep, hide behind the wall. You're fine. Good job. Your Ryan's out of position. Be careful of trying to overextend here. Nice right click. I was going to say that would have been a good opportunity. Your Ryan needs to back away. And I want to point something out to anybody who's playing tank in this situation. And this is something that if you're watching and you're not even like playing DPS, you're watching this in general. This is like where, as a player, you need to understand the situation of the team or what's going on in this game. Cart's right here, okay? There's 20 seconds on the clock. If you back up to here, there'll be 10 seconds left on the clock. Whoever wins the team fight wins, right? Whoever wins the team fight wins. That's simple. That's what it comes down to. So when you overextend here, where is the cover for Rhine? Either here, towards their spawn, or either here, LOS's teammates, towards, this is also kind of towards their side of the map. So the only safe spot would either be here, and if you have to, here, or here, right? You see this? So if you're playing tank, it's okay to start up here, but be ready to back up. I don't know if this Rhine will or not, but their Rhine has stayed overcommitted to this. And then when you do that, your other teammates feel obligated to push up and try to help you. And look what happens. Now you have a split team, and you're in a unique spot. So I want to point out when you're a tank, be wary of that, because on paper you're creating the space for your team, but like look what happens. You're playing into their team. You're going out of LOS. Your teammates can't follow up. So this is a complete side note from the DPS, but right there. Like, the tank just needs to play around the corner here, and you have a May. You have the ability to stop the cart. The cart will not make it past this corner without them winning the team fight. That's simple. They will not be able to win. If they don't win the team fight, the cart won't get to where you're at. This is why you need to recognize where these things are and make that decision based off of that. Okay? Doesn't work, Qualto. I mean, I stream a lot. At this point, that like I'm not even gonna comment on your position and all this. This is the game. Your team got rolled. Okay, so like just to kind of talk about what I was saying again, I want you to work a little bit on your movement. This goes for anybody. Working on movement can always help, no matter what rank you're in, whether it's bronze or top 500. Your projectile, like your Hanzo, needed a lot of work. The downtime you had sometimes was not ideal. Your positioning was not good at times. I would not blame your Mercy at all for the reason why this game went this way. You had good moments of high ground. You had bad moments of just staying on the low ground. I want you to start to focus on these like small things that are happening in the game, especially in this VOD, and I think you'll see progress. We saw moments of great aim. We saw moments of aim where you missed. Most of the times your aim was bad. Outside of like projectile aim, that's a different story. was usually when you were worried about too many things happening due to you being out of position, right? This happens all the time. When I have less to think about when I'm playing, right? And I know what I want to do, my aim is better. When I think about 7 different things that are happening, my aim is worse, right? That's how it goes for me. So I need you to focus on that. I think if you do that, you'll be in a good spot. But I would not focus on what your Mercy did this game. I think your Mercy played fairly well. Obviously, we saw a couple bad plays here and there, but like, this wasn't a Mercy issue. This wasn't any of that. This was an issue of you have some things to improve on. You work on those, you'll be in a fine spot. And then you'll start to see that climb back to plat. That's my take on that one. If you like this video, make sure to hit the like button. Subscribe to all 3 YouTubes if you haven't. Every day uploads on all those channels. We have a lot of awesome videos on there. I know people ask about rank games. The 3rd channel, which is more emongg, has rank games pretty much every day, outside of a little bit of variety on there if we ever do anything. If you want to submit your own spectator, look in the description below. You will see my Discord. That's where you can submit on my Discord. We record these live on stream. You can see the Twitch chat right there below the webcam. That's the Twitch chat. Stop by. We have a lot of fun with that.
So excited to spend my 6th month anniversary with Bingo Friday.
Not a thing, but with that being said, I hope you all have an amazing day/night.